ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. جزاك الله خيرا. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله جل في العلا وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة كل ضلالة في النار. We continue in our preparation for this tremendous month in which bi'idhnillah Jalla wa Az that we are about to inaugurate and start very soon. And just to continue in our enlightenment in order to carry out that tremendous ibadah which is a pillar of our religion, we continue in learning these particular matters, which inshallah bi'idhnillah will be a tremendous benefit to carry out this worship in a manner which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. For the question that I wanted to start off before we get back into the book, well actually we can start in Bulugh al-Maram and then I'm going to go back at some of the masail, some of the matters of which we want to cover or reiterate. We stopped at the hadith of Abu Hurairah, if everyone looks in their books in Bulugh al-Maram. We talked about the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he prohibited was called al-wisal. We said al-wisal in the meaning of al-wisal bil-lam in the end. The meaning of al-wisal is the person to continuously fast one day after another without breaking his fast. To the narration where it says فَإِنَّكَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ تُوَاصِلُ فَقَالَ وَأَيُّكُمْ مِثْلِي وفي رواية أخرى وَأَيُّكُمْ وَأَنَا لَسْتُ كَهَيْئَتِكُمْ فأبيت يطعمني الله ويسقيني فلما أبوا أن ينتهوا واصل بهم يوما ثم يومين ثم رأوا الهلال فقال لو تأخر لزدتكم كالمنكل لهم حين أبوا أن ينتهوا. Till the end of the narration. He said, Naha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prohibited what is called al-wisal. And they said, O Messenger of Allah, you do this, you practice al-wisal. He said, well, which of you are similar to me? Meaning in his physicality. In the physical aspect of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we know, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the strength of numerous men. So he had that endurance, and he had that tolerance in order to practice what they call wisal. He says, I come upon the night, my Lord gives me food and drink. So when they refuse to abstain from al-wisal, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued to practice it with them one day, then another day, until they seen deciding, meaning the conclusion of Ramadan. Ramadan became over when they seen the moon. And to the point where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the narration, if you notice everyone, what does it say? لو تأخر لزدتكم. Meaning if the moon had not been sighted, meaning there would have been some days left in Ramadan, I would have kept going. In order to discipline them when they refuse not to what? Abstain from this practice which is called al-wisal. We said, Ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, last lesson, the love or the meaning of the hadith. When he say that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَإِنِّي أَبِيتُ يُطْعِمُنِي اللَّهُ وَيَسْقِينِي. that verily I come upon the night and my Lord gives me food and drink. We said that from the first statement of what's intended about that wording is what, everyone? Ahsant. That we said, even the great Imam, Atallah fi umrihi bil a'mal as-salihah, Shaykh Salih, Shaykhuna Shaykh Salih Fawzan, Ibn Abdullah al-Fawzan, Hafidhullah, that he said that the meaning of the first statement is what? That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam received food from Jannah and drank from Jannah, from paradise. That was the first statement what was intended by this wording that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in this narration. There was a second statement that said, what is everyone? We said last class, the meaning of what was intended of that statement, what is what? What did we say? Jayyid. They said that the second what was intended by that statement in the narration, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam كان يتلذذ بالعبادة تلذذا يغنيه عن الأكل والشرب. That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to take pleasure in that worship, a pleasure to the point where he used to enrich him, where he did not need food and drink. So he gave him that energy to what? To continue fasting. Just to conclude what we said from last class, so we can start on the other matters which we want to speak about. We said that the asl, or the origin, is what, everyone? Not to practice al-wisal, not to practice continuously fasting without breaking it. And we said that is the origin. Why? Because even, number one, the evidence to prove or establish this fact is in the ayah, which is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 183 or 182 on down. Where Allah Ta'ala says in His book, وَكُلُوا أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ وَهُنَّ لِبَاسٌ لَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لِبَاسٌ لَهُنَّ عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَعَفَا عَنْكُمْ فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. This is the point of reference in the ayah where it says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامِ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, eat and drink until the white thread becomes distinct from the black, He says of the time of Fajr, meaning once Fajr starts, complete your fast to al-layl. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, continue to fast until Maghrib comes in. So you'll find that Ahl Ilm use the ayah as an evidence to show what, everyone? That even Allah Himself said that fasting is only what been prescribed from Fajr all the way up to when? Maghrib. So due to the nas or the text in the ayah, which is in Surah Al-Baqarah, as they say, that is the Al-Hakim Al-Faysal fi al-Qadiyya. Wal-Hakim Al-Faysal fi al-Qadiyya wal-Furqan fi al-Qadiyya. But that is the judge in the matter that cuts off what is what? What is the niza' or what the people argue or what they differ in. The ayah cuts any difference. So the origin, ya ma'ish al-ikhwa, is that one starts his fast till Fajr until Maghrib. To the time of Maghrib. When it starts, that's when one stops his fasting. Due to the nas or the text that's in the ayah itself. Right, everyone? So that's the origin. To the point we'll find that the majority of Ahl Ilm, they say that wisal is muharram. That's one statement in the mas'ala. That the jamhur, the majority of Ahl Ilm, saying to practice what they call wisal is muharram. It's impermissible. Due to the nas or the text that's in the ayah. Number two, you'll find that some of them say what? That they say that to practice wisal is something natural. If one wants to do it, he can. What's their evidence? Their evidence is in this hadith. Because the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam kept going. That's the second opinion, in which we'll say that is the weakest of opinions. Then we have the third, in which you'll find the Ahl Ilm that they mention to say that it's unlawful upon the one who finds great difficulty in this type of fast, which is to continuously fasting to the point where he does not break it, that it's only for the person that finds great what? Difficulty. Then you'll find the fourth statement that Ahl Ilm mentioned in this particular matter, that they say, And they say that is the strongest opinion. Where the origin of it is haram, of course. But there is a text and there is a narration from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is Al-Bukhari, where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tuwasilu, فلو أنا أحدكم أراد أن يواصل فليواصل إلى السحر." So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave an exception. And this is where we left off last class. So the fourth statement in this matter, which is, they say is the strongest opinion. The strongest opinion in this matter is the fourth, where he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith, which has been extracted in Bukhari, in Sahih, where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا تواصلوا ولو أن أحدكم أراد أن يواصل فليواصل إلى السحر. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned and said, do not practice wisal, meaning do not continuously fast one day after another. So that's the origin. Then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave an exception. If one of you wanted to practice wisal, then let him continue up to sahar, up to the morning, means up to fajr, and that's it, stop. So the origin is that one should not do it. One should not practice wisal. To the point where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned and said, the last part where he gave an exception, alayhi salatu wassalam, what did he say, ya ma'ashal ikhwa? He said, however, if one of you wanted to do this, then only let him do it up to the time of sahar, up to the time of fajr. Sahar means the morning, up to the time of fajr, or up to the morning, up to the morning. For this is where we stopped at last class. And now we're going to get inside of what is considered after this in regards to what one can do while he's fasting after. We also talk about some important matters that we wanted to speak about before we start the next hadith. فَيَا مَعَشَ الْإِخْوَةِ, if you notice in your books of Bulugh al-Maram, which is the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that talks about, which is from what they call, which we'll speak in this time, from mufsidat as-sawm, from the affairs that corrupts or invalidates one's fasting. That hadith in which we'll speak about in a minute, inshallah. Okay, everyone? We're not going to speak about today, but we'll speak about it next class, which is Friday. Bi'idhnillah jalla wa azza. Just to return back to what we discussed, and I want to question everyone and see what will be their answer. What if a person was sick to the point he was sick, a sickness that more than likely, of course, he had a chronic illness to the point where what he thinks he will never be cured from. He cannot fast. What do we say in regards to this person? Based upon what the notes and everything I've been giving you for the past 2 weeks. Ahsantum. This person who's sick with a chronic illness, which he cannot fast at all, then he will feed how many people? Not 3. Depending on the days of what has already elapsed in the days of the month of Ramadan, is based upon how many days he will feed. 2 days passed by, feed 2 people. 10 days went by, he would feed 10 people. 15, and so on and so forth. Right, everyone? Right. We said also likewise, and there's 2 ways of feeding. Right, everyone? What's the first one? He can either cook the food, in which he can prepare as a meal, either for lunch or either for dinner. For that, No. That's the first one. It doesn't matter. That's the first one, where a person can actually cook the food. And he would call the person who is impoverished, who's from the indigent, and that individual, like we said, he would either feed them lunch or dinner prepared with food. And as you'll find Ahl al-Ilm mentioned, they say in this regard, فَيَجَعَلُ مَعَهُ مَا يُدِّمُهُ مِنَ اللَّحْمِ فَيَجَعَلُ مَعَهُ مَا يُدِّمُهُ مِنَ اللَّحْمِ. That a person makes along with it what is from something, just for lack of better words, of what is bloody, of meat. He makes along with it some meat. The second way to feed a person, it could be bit tamlik, something that you own, but it's not prepared. It's not prepared, which is called Ar-Razzaaq, which is a fourth of sa', if it's from what they call burr. Burr now is equal to rice in these days and times. But we'll talk about the aswa' or the aswa'at, with the different type of measurements. If one wanted to do the other alternative, he can do that also likewise. But usually what is easier for what? For a person, especially in our days and times, a person can what? Prepare, cook the food. The only thing is, a lot of people ignore, make sure that you are feeding the amount of people that you need to feed. Because a lot of people, they don't miss it. They just cook a lot of food, and they come, and they just cook and make plates. Just make sure that you are counting the people who you need to feed. Make sure that you're accurate in who you feed. So those are what is incumbent upon a person if he's what, everyone? Sick to a chronic illness in which he's not able to fast. What is the example of that? Cancer, diabetes, to the end of it. Right, everyone? G. Right, another question. All of that evidence, and we'll talk about the evidence in the ayah, which is going to come, inshallah. Right, another question. What if a person was sick and it's obligatory upon him to feed? Is it permissible for him to give the food to other than the Muslims if he's in a non-Muslim country? Is it permissible for him to give it to the non-Muslims if he has to feed? No, there is Muslims. The also is he gives it to who? Gives it to the Muslims. Gives it to the Muslims who are? Absolutely. He gives it to the Muslims. Right. So number one, we say that the person, first of all, we say number one, the sickness is of the sickness which is what? Temporary. What sickness in which more than likely a person will be cured from? And we said that person, such as a person has a virus, or a person has a cold, a real bad, severe cold, bronchitis, what have you, whatever. Or a person is finding difficulty along with fasting, then we say that person can what? If he's finding difficulty where? To the point where, of course, siyam is harming him. At the same time, he is sick. We say that person can what? Break his fast? Does he feed? Does he feed? No. Rather, what does he do? Makes it up after the month of Ramadan. Makes it up after the month of Ramadan. That's due to the ayah, as we know, where Allah Ta'ala says, مَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى السَّفَرِ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ وَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. That ayah first, and then another one, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says it again, وَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى السَّفَرِ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Anyway, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in His book, whoever is sick from amongst you or traveling, then a period of days after the day of the month of Ramadan. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala what? Said if one is sick, right, everyone? And we said those sicknesses break down to how many? First category is the one who has a temporary sickness. The more likely he will be what? Cured from. So that's the first category. He says, كَانَ الشَّخْص مَرِيضًا مَرْضًا يُرْجَى بْرُؤُهُ. He's sick, has sickness in which he thinks more likely he'll be cured from. So that's the first category. And we said, let's just say, for example, he has a light headache, or a little stuffy nose, or he has a little bit of itchy eyes, or what have you. What do we say about this person? He said he should fast. He should fast. If it's something light. You find that some people that would take the rukhas, they'll take the initiative to find a loophole. My eyes is itchy today, I'm sick, I'm breaking my fast. Just light a little itch in my eye, just a little itch for 10 minutes. You'll find that Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, that he even mentioned Sharh al-Mumti' about this regard. He even said that this type of sickness, where a person has something light, that he should still fast. Especially because this type of sickness is not finding any difficulty where the siyam affects his health while he's fasting and at the same time while he's sick. So in this case, then what? He should still fast. But the second thing, such as, for example, a person has some type of cold or severe cold or something of a severe virus or what have you to the end of it, where he's finding difficulty and his siyam is also affecting him while he's fasting, or his sickness is affecting him while he's fasting, then what, everyone? He said he can break his fast. He can break his fast. And he would just what? Make it up after the month of Ramadan. طيب. Jay, what's it? تفضل. Say it again. If they don't have the ability, سقط. The obligation falls off. طيب. Another question. A person, in regards to a person that does what they call dialysis. What is dialysis, everyone? When a person's kidneys have failed. عافانا الله وإياكم من ذلك. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. بالنسبة لمن يقوم بعمل غسيل الكلى, as they say, ينقض وضوءه خروج الدم منه أثناء الغسيل وكيف يصوم ويصلي أثناء الغسيل إذا وافق وقت الصلاة. What about in regards to a person that he carries out what they call dialysis, where he gets his kidneys cleaned out, where the blood is removed and it comes back? First of all, first question he asks, does it break one's wudu? The blood coming out during the purification of his blood. And how does he fast and how does he pray during the purification if the time agrees with the salah? As for number one, we know that breaking of wudu, or the wudu being broken, is that which comes out from the two pathways, as they call it. أَمَّا مَا خَرَجَ مِنَ السَّبِيلَيْنِ, as we know. What comes out from the two pathways, they call it in the Arabic language, سَبِيلَيْنِ, مَا خَرَجَ مِنَ السَّبِيلَيْنِ. The sabilain, the first pathway, of course we know, is the private part, and the second one is the rear end, in which defecation emanates from, and in the front is what everyone, is where urine comes out. That's bil-ittifaq. That's by agreement of Ahl Ilm. If that comes out, something comes out of those two places, then it comes, and then we know that it what? Nullifies one's wudu. طيب, there's another qawl of Ahl Ilm, which is also authentic, which is also correct, which is touching the private part. Touching of the private part on purpose. On purpose. Notice I say on purpose, and I'm stressing that point. On purpose. Without something not covering or a barrier. Meaning skin to skin. But if something is in front of it, what they call al-ha'il, if something is blocking or a barrier or pants or whatever, it doesn't break your wudu. But if you touch your private part directly, or you touch your anus directly, on purpose, then what? It breaks your wudu. It breaks your wudu. That's also authentic. It's been established upon, or that's been established upon the Shara'. طيب. Now, in regards, so those two points are clear, right, everyone? What comes out of the two pathways, and also touching the private part on purpose. One's private part. And one's also, his anus will break his wudu if he does it on purpose. Why I keep saying on purpose? And why I keep stressing that point? Because a person taking a shower, he's making wudu, let's just say his arm accidentally grazed against his private part. Oh, I got to do it all over again. That's why I said it and made the point, what? On purpose. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it clear what I'm saying? Right. So in regards to this, then we say that, of course, these affairs breaks one's wudu. And also, the eating of a type of meat. We'll talk about that too. What meat, everyone? Camel meat. Ahsantum. Now, camel meat also breaks one's wudu. He'll have to renew his wudu. Camel meat. Eating camel meat. The eating of camel meat, what they call mutton. That type of, or eating that type of meat will break one's wudu, where he has to renew his wudu. طيب. Those affairs have been established in the Shara', no doubt. Right, in regards to what blood, especially if it comes out, or type of blood that one, which we'll speak about inshallah, there is some details in this. There is some details, some real daqiq, it's very accurate and precise. But for now, we know that if a person was to do this, then if he had to do dialysis or what have you, he would not have to renew his wudu. Or if he had his kidneys cleaned out, or what they call removal of the blood, what they call ghasil kila, dialysis, then he does not have to what? Remove his wudu. طيب. Now what does he do in regards to performing the salah? What does he have to do in regards to salah? Your father, Ahl Ilm, say that he should agree with what? This appointment with the doctor, where he arranges with the doctor, where it's done at a time for dhuhr, then he could combine his salah. Because he has the wujud of the illah, or the reason, which is what? The difficulty. The difficulty here, where his blood is being purified, and if it takes a long time and the procedure is very long, then he can what? He can combine the dhuhr along with the asr, and then perform the procedure in this particular what? Instance, due to the difficulty that might be upon him. And I'll read what the great Imam that he mentions, it says this regard. He says, أما بالنسبة للصلاة فإنه يمكن يجمع الرجل المصاب بين الظهر والعصر. So he says here, وبين المغرب والعشاء وينسق مع الطبيب المباشر في الوقت بحيث يكون الغسيل لا يستوعب أكثر من نصف النهار لئلا تفوته صلاة الظهر والعصر في وقتيهما. فيقول له مثلا أخر الغسيل عن الزوال بمقدار ما أصلي به الظهر والعصر، أو قدمه حتى أتمكن من صلاة الظهر والعصر قبل خروج وقت العصر. المهم أنه يجوز له الجمع دون تأخير الصلاة عن وقتها. To the end of it. He says in regards to the salah, meaning the person has been afflicted with the sickness, he can combine between dhuhr and asr or between maghrib and isha. He said that he arranges with the tabib who's working that shift in the time where he's able to perform this type of ghasil, this washing. He says, whereas it does not take up more than half a day, whereas he will not miss out on salat al-dhuhr or asr in his two times. For example, you could say, put off that procedure. He says, an zawal. He said, put it after what? When the sun, of course, when it starts with the time of dhuhr. He said, with the duration of time where he's able to what? Combine between dhuhr and asr. Or you could say what? Allow it to be in the time frame where also maybe it might be in the time for asr. He says it might be in another time. Whereas still I could combine both salah. He said the point of the matter is that it's done before the time of asr goes out. He says, what is more important is to say that it's permissible to gather what? Gather between the two prayers. He said there's no problem with that as long as he arranges that with the what? The one who's the practicing doctor at the time. So is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So if it's a difficulty, then he can what? Combine the salah. Play. Question. What if a woman or a man was afflicted with what they call jalta? Jalta. Jalta is it's like not a heart attack, but it's like a stroke. Jalta in Arabic is a stroke. Person that was afflicted with a stroke, and the doctors told her she cannot fast, or he or she can't fast. What do they do? What did he do? What did they do? Did they feed or not? This is how you answer the answer. This is how you answer the answer. If a sickness that you have, this is how you answer that answer. If the sickness that you have is a sickness in which the doctor says you will never be cured from, then what? You feed. But if it's in a matter in which the sickness is what? Where the doctor says, inshallah, you will be cured from it, then what? You will make up the day. You understand? So don't just jump. Your father, even Ahl Ilm, even refer back to doctors who are reliable, even if they are non-Muslims. As long as that he has proper qualifications and experience, and he has those expertise in that field, and he's reliable, then one can what? Accept his statement. You understand, everyone? Even if he's not Muslim. That the doctor, as long as he's reliable, has those expertise, and he has all those affairs which qualifies him, whereas it makes his statement reliable, then it can what? It could be utilized. So we say that doctor here, if he says, if it's going to harm you to fast, or it cause you to have a stroke again, or it might cause you to where you might die, then here in this instance, of course, he will not fast at all. And if the doctor, if he sees that if they should feed, whereas they cannot fast, then of course in this instance, then they should feed. But if not, if they say, no, you'll be okay, wait till after Ramadan is over, then he would wait and put it off until after the month of Ramadan and make it up. Is it clear, everyone? Yeah. Question. What about a person that's sick, what they call مرض السكر? It says مريض السكر لم يستطيع الصيام في رمضان وبعد انتهاء رمضان تحسن. Listen to this. ورأى أن عليه يقضي رمضان جرب يوما ورأى نفسه متعبا والمرض هذا قديم فما حكمه? A person that's sick with diabetes, he's not able to fast in Ramadan. So listen. So after the month of Ramadan is over, he started feeling better. He's seen improvement. So then now he sees that it's upon him to make up those days. And he tried one day, and he seen that himself was extremely tired, exhausted. He said, even though the sickness is is old, what is his ruling? He did. When he had diabetes. What do you say? I'll say quickly. This person, of course, when the doctor said if you have diabetes, extreme diabetes, if you do not fast, of course. So now in his mind is thinking everything is based upon what's in your mind taking place in that particular moment. That has effect. So the hukam for you in that particular moment is what? Can't fast, khalas. So that person, he fed those days. So that responsibility in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bonded upon him, of that duty has been released. Based upon what was in his mind at that particular time. The doctor said, I cannot fast, you cannot fast. So he fed. When he fed those days to those impoverished, then that released his His duty with Allah. His responsibility it was carried out. Right, everyone? طيب. Now just say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preordained for him on a particular day that he gave him afiyah, or basically became cured from that sickness. So now, is it upon him to go back to those days where he fed and make up those days? No. Because the duty has already been It's been carried out. Or the duty has been lifted. It's been raised. He carried it out. So it's not upon him, and now he says, oh man, subhanAllah, maybe I was okay. Even the doctor might have been wrong. Shaitan started to now put doubt on you. Oh, subhanAllah, you know what? I should just make him up just in case. No. Once he gave you that statement, and that was the hukum at that particular time, the ruling at a particular time, then what, everyone? You did your duty, it's finished. So it's not upon you to go back and now try to make up those days. Now, even though you've seen that, for example, you're better, you feel better, your health has returned back to normal, of course, here in this instant, you would go back to to the origin, which is to resume fasting. Is it clear what I'm saying? But however, let's just say now that the doctor said to you, you're still You're still sick. Because notice in the question he said, I still found myself to be very exhausted. So now we say in this regard, if the doctor says still not to fast, then what? Not to fast. But if he says now, for all of a sudden maybe, mashallah, you're better now. I don't know what happened. Like your circumstances totally change. It happens to certain people. It does. Some weird, strange things does happen from time to time. It does happen. Person be sick, then all of a sudden you see they either improve and get dramatically, or they dramatically improve to the point where they become what? Back to normal. Here in this instance, he will resume his fasting. If the doctor now says, no, you're still sick, do not do it. Even though you might feel a little bit better, but you still have the what? The sickness. Then he will remain upon feeding. You understand, everyone? Is it clear? Is it clear what I'm saying? G. Person or elderly man, sick, not able to fast. However, he wanted to use what? He wanted to extract money in order to what? Feed. Instead of feeding people with food, he wanted to use money or something that's monetary. Instead of what? Instead of non-perishable goods or food that's cooked. Does that suffice him? Does that suffice him? Abdullah, does it suffice him? No. Why doesn't it suffice him? Due to the fact that it's clear that the nas qati', the nas in the ayah in the book of Allah is what, everyone? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear. That is food. For fidyatun ta'amu miski. So the food, or what is a fidya, what is a recompense or compensation, is what, everyone? Is that one feeds food. Which is a nas. The text in which comes in the surah and the ayah which Allah ta'ala has established. So no one can use money. Now, another question will say, what if one used money to pay a cook to prepare the food for him, prepare it now and disseminate it to the what? To those poor. Is this permissible? Think. Don't just jump the question. Give an answer. Person now takes his money. The first part of the question is to give the person, everybody's in poverty, I'll give you money. Khalas. The money of what is equivalent to food, here, take it. We said that's impermissible. Bil-ittifaq. Right, everyone? Like, now I want to pay a chef. Here, you take this money, buy the food, prepare it, then I'll pick it up, disseminate it to those poor. Permissible or not? Huh? Permissible or not? Permissible or not permissible? Jamal is correct. What's the difference? The origin is, you'll find, inshallah, a lot of ahkam is permissible to what they call tawkeel. Tawkeel is you give it's just like wakil. Wakil is basically not the media, but the person you entrust to do something for you. A person that you would entrust. You gave him the money, he just took the money, he bought the food, prepared it, he just gave it to you, you disseminated it to everyone. Permissible. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, of course. No. I said he buys the food, he cooks it, or gives it to you. Or he could disseminate it. Even the cook can disseminate it for you. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Even the cook himself, let's just say he gave him money. Let's just say he gave him money now to go buy the food, cook it, and disseminate it. And I'll pay you for that. On your behalf. We say, of course, you can do that. Permissible. Let's just say a person now is in a wheelchair. How's he going to do it? Somebody has to do it for him. I mean, he has an excuse originally because he's feeding. He can do it. As long as he makes sure, but you have to tell him, make a condition. Make sure you're feeding 30 impoverished people. If that particular lapse or that confusion is there, then just do it yourself. If that confusion, that risk is there, then by all means do it yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people, then they're not real cautious. They'll just be like, hey, feed, take the food. Hey, everybody, get your plate, you're good. You understand? But if you want to be accurate and precise, of course, a person would take on that responsibility himself in order to make sure that everyone who was fed was the proper number in which he wanted to feed or what he broke those particular days. You understand? Is it clear? No. Right. So we said that money monetarily or food, money itself to pay the poor is not adequate, nor is it acceptable at all. You understand? No one can pay the indigent this amount of money here, I give you $20, that's enough for a food or a meal, and get feed to 10 people, 15, 20, whatever. No. It's not permissible. Due to the ayah. Allah says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah said the word ta'am, food. So anyone try to come to some khilaf, you say, listen, you're going against what Allah himself said. Allah clearly said in his book what? Food. Ta'am. So that's the what? That's the ayat that breaks all the difference of opinion. And it removes all the argumentation and all the any type of rebuttal or whatever. It nullifies all of it. You understand, everyone? Is it clear? G. طيب. Question. A person's mother, she ate or she took her medicine. She took medicine orally after the adhan of Fajr. Right after the adhan of Fajr by a small amount of time. A little bit of time right after Fajr came in. What do we say? She broke her fast, or let's just say Fajr came in 4:25. She took her medicine 4:35. Medicine. Is her fast what? Is it valid or invalid? Huh? That fly has been in here now for like 5 days, that big fly. What do we say? Her fast valid or invalid, brothers? No, she knew what time Fajr came in. She knew her Fajr time was invalid. She knew the time of Fajr. Fajr, let's say, came in 4:25, around that time. She took her medicine 5 minutes after that time. Oral medicine. Oral medicine. It's invalid or invalid? Valid or invalid? After Fajr. Not at the adhan while she was eating. After Fajr. No, Fajr just came in. That's the Fajr came in. The fast here is invalid. She had knowledge of the time. She had knowledge of the time. She had knowledge of the time. And also likewise, she took her medicine orally after the adhan, or after the time for Fajr. If a person takes medicine orally, of course, then their fast is what? Invalid. They'll have to make it up after the month of Ramadan. Jayyid? Let's just say now, she did know the time. She did not know the time. She took some medicine orally thinking that Fajr did not come in. What do we say now? What do we say now, Musa? I said, that's correct. Siyam is valid. Due to the fact she was ignorant at the time. Because like we said, it goes back to the what? To what the mind was thinking at the particular time. She had her mind, Fajr to come out, we good. She took it. Let's just say she didn't hear the adhan, or she didn't hear the adhan outside. She was in a Muslim country, of course. She said what? I didn't hear it. We'll still say her fast was what? Valid. See how it's valid. What about a woman now? After the adhan of Fajr, she takes medicine by the vein, by a needle in her bloodstream. She uses a needle to put in her vein insulin or something that gives nutrients to the body. After Fajr. And she knew the time. Nah, what is correct is invalid. Why is it invalid? Because anything that gives nutrients to the body invalidates the fast. Especially if the person had knowledge of the time, of course. They had knowledge of the time, they took the needle, stuck it in their vein, khalas. Then what? If it gives nutrients to the body, then what? Breaks the fast. Breaks the fast. Let's just say now after the time of Fajr. After the time of Fajr, they knew the time. They put eye drops in their eyes. Eye drops. Fast is what? What do you say? Astaghfirullah to be I forgot. I'm about to say Amir, huh? Abdul Alim? Oh, Ali. Huh? What do we say? What do we say? What do you say, Abdullah? What do you say, Musa? G. Your answers are correct. You can take water drops, put water drops in your eyes all throughout the day if you want. Doesn't matter. You understand? It's permissible. All throughout the day. Doesn't matter. Person would say, well, I felt a little taste in my throat. Doesn't matter. You understand? Eye drops is what? Permissible. Like, let's just say the person put eardrops. Eardrops. Valor and valid. Valor and valid, Ibrahim. It's valid. J. Person could use eardrops. Now, let's get to something else. I gave you guys a hint. Now if you put nose drops. Nose drops. Nose drops. Nose drops. Huh? If a person puts drops in his nose, the nose is a passageway to the stomach. Due to the Prophet ﷺ himself said that. This we'll talk about, inshallah. That's going to come in the chapter. That's going to come in the chapter of what invalidates one's fast. That's going to come. All right, everyone? I was just putting a little side benefit in there. Because we still want to talk about a person who's sick. What about a person? That's easy. That's too easy. Question. If a person now missed the month of Ramadan, or let's just say 21 days of Ramadan because of a sickness, because of some weakness in their body, and the doctor clearly said to them, do not complete the rest of the days, those days, whatever. Or let's just say, for example, let me start the question over. Let's start the question over. Person fasts for 20 days, became sick. The doctor said clearly to them, listen, do not complete the rest of your fast. It's done. You're going to be what? You're going to harm yourself. That will harm you. So stop for that what? For the rest of that duration, that period. Those last days of the month of Ramadan, they didn't fast. Until now, after the month, now see, this is going to give it away, and it's going to make it easy. I'm trying to make it somewhat difficult. Man, that's too easy. You guys are going to go, that's easy. I can't. That's too easy. That's too easy. Person that's sick with a sickness of his heart. What do we say about him? Has a heart problem. What does he say? What kind of sickness is that? Heart condition. G. The doctor says more than likely the fast you fast is going to what? Going to harm you, it's going to kill you. Khalas. It does not what, everyone? Doesn't fast. J. طيب. See, this is all too easy. I'm trying to get into something hard. طيب. What about a person that has a man that he's afflicted with what they call صرع, epilepsy. Is epilepsy? No. Person has epilepsy, صرع. He wasn't able to perform the month of Ramadan. Due to the fact that he had to keep trying to attain some type of ilaj or treatment 3 times out of the day. He tried to fast 1 day, 2 days, and he wasn't able. Also, likewise, due to the fact he's retired. His retirement, of course, is of a certain amount of money. And that's the only money basically or income that he has, which is retirement. So what about the person now? Say, this is easy. Yeah. So now this person that wasn't able to fast 30 days, let's just say now he's not able to what? To feed 30 impoverished people. During the month of Ramadan, he didn't get his money. What does he do? But more than likely, he might get his money later. Huh. That's slightly more difficult. That's easy. Person mal month of Ramadan, of course, he doesn't fast. He's not able. He wasn't able. His money didn't come in until what? His money did not come in that particular month, Ramadan, but he'll get it after. If that's the case, then he would feed. Well, you'll feed later. But if he doesn't have the money at all, then it what? Falls off him. The wujub falls off him. Now let's get into another issue, which is now about travel. What is allowed as far as travel? What is the exact amount of distance of what is considered a travel? 83. That's the statement you're talking about. 83 kilometers. Of course, we know in regards to traveling, it's permissible to what? For three things. Three things are permissible. Probably a little bit more than that. First of all the ahkam of siyam is what? Been lifted. It's clear, right, everyone? That's what we're going to talk about, inshallah. That's going to come. That's the first thing. Second thing, a person can now gather between his prayers. He could gather dhuhr along with what? With asr. And he could both make them what? 2 rak'ats each. Right, everyone? You can pray dhuhr 2 and pray asr 2. Jama'an ta'khiran or taqdeeman. Either during the time of dhuhr or the time of asr. Jayyid. Another thing, it's permissible for him to also wipe over his socks for 3 days without taking them off. Even though I know a lot of people won't want to do that. If they want to just say if that was the case where he did not, then he could do it. That's the religion has been made easy for him. Is it clear? Huh? Abdullah, you want to put some water on your eyes, right? You want to put some water on your eyes? It seems like he's going through it. Some cold water. So those are the things that ahkam is permissible. What is the things that actually now, this is something that's famous here in a lot of areas. People before they actually what? Travel. They break their fast and they start combining this a lot. Before they actually start and they travel. I don't know where they get this from. I'm still trying to find it. I know brothers that told me this. So I made my need to travel, khalas. Before I even travel, I can combine my salat and I can what? Break my fast. I ain't even leave out my city yet. I don't know. I still to this day have not found no dalil for it. Because I know a lot of people that do that. I'm still trying to find the dalil for it. I tried to look. The only statement I found one in Mughni by Ibn Qudama, al-Maqdisi. And it's a weak opinion. It's weak. It's not even considered. It's not based upon no dalil from Kitab and Sunnah. It's not based upon any evidence. Right, everyone? طيب. So these are, now what is allowed? Now what's considered a travel? They said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ used to what? If he would travel, ثلاثة فراsikh, then he what? All the ahkam of traveling will what? Come into play. Another question before we get into this mas'ala about traveling. Let's just say a person reaches the destination. Now, does it cut? Once he reached, and he's only going to stay there for about 3 days, 4 days, let's just say 10 days. Let's just say 15 days. I go to visit some relatives in, for example, let's just say I'm going to go visit my family in Virginia for 10 days. I reached my point of destination. I've seen my family, I arrived. Can I still what? All the ahkam of traveling, can I still perform it or not? You're still a traveler. We're going to talk about the evidences and proofs. With the Messenger of Allah sallallahu during the conquest of Mecca, we'll talk about this. Keep this delil memorized. You're going to need this. With the Messenger of Allah sallallahu combined the salah, and he was in the month of Ramadan during the conquest of Mecca, because the conquest of Mecca happened during around that time, where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu arrived on the 20th of Ramadan, in the conquest of Mecca. And he broke his fast and combined all the way up to the month was over. That's how many days? That's about almost 9-10 days. If I remember, the narration said that the month became over on the 29th. So it's 9 days. So the Messenger of Allah, not only that, he continued like that all the way up to, until what? Until Shawwal. Until Shawwal, after the month was over. Which is up to when it became 19 days. So the Messenger of Allah combined his salat for 19 days. 19 days. And he also broke his fast for 9 days in the month of Ramadan. All the way up to 19. And for the duration of the expedition of Tabuk, when he went out for Tabuk, 20 days. 20. Jayyid. So let's just say now, I'm in Virginia and I go to visit my loved ones in Virginia, because we got to comply this in contemporary times. I want to go to Virginia, visit my loved ones or for family that I have in Virginia. So I know I'm going to be there for probably 2 weeks. Can I break my fast if I want it? Can I break my fast for those 20, for those to say in the month of Ramadan, for those 2 weeks, if I want it? And can I also combine my salah? Huh? Come on, brothers. Those narrations of Tabuk and Conquest of Mecca and Bukhari. So there's no argument in the authenticity of it. The Conquest of Mecca, that narration is at Bukhari. It's been established. Because there's so many different narrators that seen the Messenger of Allah sallallahu combine it. And he did not fast in the month of Ramadan while he was in during the duration of the Conquest of Mecca. 9 days, he did not fast, nothing. Which was more than 4 days, or which is the famous statement, 3 or 4 days. Some people say 4 days, that's all you have. Once you reach the destination, khalas, 4 days, that's it, no more. They say this, it's done. You cannot You have to go back to the original asl, which is to pray salat in every time with 4 raka'at, and you will have to resume fasting. So if I go to Virginia, but however, in regards to the ahkam of not fasting while you're traveling, there is some details. We'll get into it, inshallah. All right, everyone? But keep those 2 ahadith of Ghazwat Tabuk and the conquest of Mecca, keep those memorized. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu combined, and he also he broke his fast for 9 days, all the way up to reach 19 days in Mecca. He was there 19. Combining his salah and Of course he didn't break his fast. But combining his salah and shortening it. Combining it and shortening it. For 19 days. 19. Then you have another occasion when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu combined the salah and shortened it for how many? 20. In the time, what happened with what? In the time of Tabuk. Which is in Bukhari. Jayyid. Tayyib. So keep those narrations in mind. We have to start to somebody got to go to you there. I think, what's it coming? 805 or 806? Yeah, someone says 805. It just came in. Who, anyway, we'll do the honors, Jamal. Cling to those narrations. Okay, everyone? So keep them in your pocket. Keep them in your pocket. Because I was on the opinion back in the 90s that you only had once you arrive at your destination, khalas. You have You have 4 days, no more, no less. Khalas, you're done. You have to go back to, everything has to be returned back to normal. Until, like I said, of course, when you learn the Arabic language, you start doing some more research. Other things start to now unlock to you. Everyone. We'll stop for you then. Somebody remind me I have to make wudu. Please don't let me pray without wudu, please, someone. Remind me that I have to make wudu. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You all right, Abdul? You want to sit in the office? Because I think it's something about the room might be irritating your allergies. That's pretty good. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. أمر بهذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمد الصيام الفضيلة وبعث مقام محمود الذي وعدته. طيب. So some of Ahl Ilm say that the distance now for travel, so these ahkam that we just mentioned briefly and concisely a couple of minutes ago, that they actually start or they come into practice, they come into play after what, just like Jamal said, rahmakallah, said 83 what? Kilo wa nus, taqriban. I would say 83 kilometers. However, majority of Ahl Ilm have said that the travel is that which is in the customs of the people, right? The customs of what the people consider the travel as a travel. Even though there is narrations, there is a lot of narrations. One of them is that the Messenger of Allah said if he traveled, ثلاثة فراsikh, then he would what? Then he would all the ahkam and safar would come to play. He would combine and shorten salah. طيب. There's different narrations, but majority of Ahl Ilm you'll find they say what is considered with the what? Was considered with the customs of the people is the strongest opinion. Was considered with the customs of the people. You'll find in a lot of different countries it's different. What we consider travel is not a travel to certain people. And what we consider not a travel is a travel to certain people. Everything is different according to what? Certain cities or certain lands. Like for example, let's just say coming to Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, and you go all the way to, for example, to Montgomery County or in Cheltenham or whatever they call it, Elkins Park or what they call it. I don't think anybody in the city, even though it might take maybe 45 minutes to get from South Philadelphia to Montgomery County, it might take about 45 minutes. I don't think anybody would think maybe 45 minutes is a little bit more. And anybody wouldn't think that what? It's a travel. I don't think that people would consider that a travel. Coming from South Philadelphia all the way up to Cheltenham Mall or whatever is considered a travel, would they? To the point where now, if your wife lived in South Philadelphia, she said, listen, I got to go to Cheltenham Mall. No, you need a mahram. I don't think anybody would say that. Would they? No. If you go and she says in South Philadelphia, and she's going to Cheltenham Mall, let's just say, for example, would she need a mahram? La. I don't think I hope our brothers wouldn't, listen, you need a mahram. Khalas, that's a traveler. Me, that's a traveler. No, we say with the people, that what the people consider the travel is a travel. So I wouldn't say that a woman will need a mahram in that instance. Like I said, everything is different according to what? The customs of the people. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. However, this is the question. The reason why this is so important, because this is in connection with the what? The qadiyya, or the case of what? Does a person have to what? Fast the night in Ramadan? That's the issue. Because once a person is traveling, now his state as far as the obligation of fasting changes slightly. Right, everyone? Does it or does it not change? Does it or doesn't it changes? Now, of course. Because now we just said it's permissible for them a lot of things. Because we said the ahkam al-safar is what? It's been raised, especially if he's finding difficulty in his fasting. Then definitely, by all means, he can what? Break his fast. If it's a hardship, of course. طيب. And he can also what? He can eat, he can drink, and he can what? Even be intimate with his wife. If he's if she's traveling too. If she's traveling too. Yes, of course. If a person is traveling, fasting is broke, food and drink, by all means, if that's the case, then he can also be what? He can practice, it could be intimate. Is it clear? But also likewise, like we said, the second thing is what, everyone? He can either wipe over his khufs, over socks for 3 days, and he could combine and shorten his what? His salah. As far as the travel, we know it's in its origin. Excuse me. I'm sorry, everyone. Now I got a question for everyone. What is the ruling for a person who travels in the month of Ramadan in order his intention is to break his fast? Meaning, his intention is to escape the obligation of fasting. That's his intention. That's his intention. Permissible or impermissible? Permissible or impermissible? Huh? J. I'll read quickly what Shaykh Uthaymeen says. He says, صيام في الأصل واجب على الإنسان بل هو فرض وركن من أركان الإسلام كما هو معلوم والشيء الواجب في الشرع لا يجوز للإنسان يفعل حيلة ليسقطه عن نفسه فمن سافر من أجل يفطر كان السفر حراما عليه حرام وكان الفطر كذلك حراما عليه فيجب عليه أن يتوب إلى الله عز وجل ويرجع عن سفره ويصوم فإن لم يرجع وجب عليه يصوم لو كان مسافرا. وخلاصة الجواب أنه لا يجوز للإنسان أن يتحيل على الإفطار في رمضان بالسفر لأن التحيل على إسقاط الواجب لا يسقطه كما أن التحيل على المحرم لا يجعله مباحا. He says Siyam in its origin is obligatory upon an individual, upon a person. He says, and it's a duty and it's a pillar from the pillars of the religion, as it's known. He said, and what is this thing that is a duty in the Shara' and the Kitab al-Sunnah, it's not permissible for a person to do something of a trick, hila, a trick, in order to what? Drop his obligation off of him. So the one who travels in order to break his fast, then what? For a person, if he's using this as his objective to break his fast, and that's his intention, then this particular travel is haram, is unlawful upon him. And likewise, even breaking his fast is haram upon him. So it's obligatory upon him to make tawbah to Allah and to come back from his travel and resume his fast and to fast. And if he does not, then it's obligatory upon him to fast even if he's traveling. So to just gather up, it says Khulasat al-Jawab, the concise matter that we're going to say, just to summarize the answer, it's not permissible for a person to use tricks by using iftar, by breaking one's fast in the Ramadan by traveling. Because tricks and games and playing tricks upon to relieve him of his duty or to lift the duty, he says these type of tricks does not relieve him. Rather is what? It's unlawful. And something that's unlawful because of this trick doesn't make it now what? Mubah. It doesn't make it legalized now or justified. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? Because some of the brothers, I told them this, it's like, not here, but it was another person that asked me. He said, why can't I travel? No, let's just say you premeditated to say we have to travel on the first day of Ramadan because I don't feel like fasting this year at all. I don't feel like it. So you made your intention to what? You took this initiative, and what did you do? To say, I'm going to utilize this in order to not fast. Not talking about a person in Ramadan, that's not his intention. Let's just, for example, I'm going to make Umrah in Ramadan. That's something different. Or let's just say, for example, there's some people I want to visit from my family or whatever. That's not his intention. His intention is for what? A travel, so another what? Purpose. But he does not have the intention of what? Not fast. Is it clear? So that's the asl. That's the origin. An asl, that is what? That to play these type of games, these are what they call at-tahayyul ala al-iftar fi Ramadan, like we said, muharram shar'an. So that's impermissible what? As far as what we just mentioned. Another question that we'll stop and pray. What about a person now? Now, we say another example. A man, he makes his intention for traveling. Right? He didn't travel yet. He broke his fast in the house due to ignorance. Is it upon him an expiation? Due to the fact that he thinks it's similar to what? Intercourse. Person didn't travel yet. But my intention is to travel today. I'm in Delaware. I'm making my intentions. Somebody called me, can you come out and visit me? Okay, I'll come to you tomorrow. So in the morning time, I woke up. Before I got in my car to travel, since I'm making my intention to fast, khalas. I'm going to just break my fast in my house. Permissible? He didn't start traveling yet. Fine. So what is upon this individual here? Of course, if he's ignorant, it's something different. If he did it on purpose, he had knowledge, then it's upon him to make that what? That day up. Does he have to now make an expiation? We say what? No. We'll talk about that in a minute. Fine. So keep in mind, brothers, until you are in your travel, none of these ahkam or these rulings are what? Permissible for you. Until you are in the actual travel itself. Okay? Not before you leave out the house. Like I said, I've heard this from a lot of people. That's permissible for you to break your fast and to start combining your salat and to also combine and shorten it before you actually start traveling. I have not found that dalil yet. Certain people have said this to me over and over again, even since the 90s. And I kept saying, what's the dalil for it? Bring it to me. I need it. They still have yet to bring it. And like I told you, I tried to do research on that, did not find it. I cannot find it. So if that's the case, if you have some evidence that's authentic, then it stays upon its origin where it's not permissible to practice any of these ahkam until you're actually in the travel is what? The travel itself. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? We'll continue after the prayer, inshallah. We'll continue after the salah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.